The world needs to pay attention to who this man is, because he is inspiring an African revolution against the West right now.
Let me tell you a true story, be so cool. Please tell me that you guys seen that video. There's some video with some lady running into a couple of illegals, right? They're not supposed to be coming here. I don't even know how they got here. But those illegals said that they walked from India. Shh. Not only that, guys, he had a friend with him that said that he walked from Bangladesh. How is that possible? That makes no sense to me, because I can't even walk from Staten Island to Brooklyn. And you're telling me that people are walking from India to this? Shh. They said that they didn't have to fly or cross any waters. How is that possible? You know how? Because that's impossible. Shh. So if they're saying that, then that kind of means that we're closer than what we think we are, which is not true, because my whole life I was taught that we have to get into these airplanes to go to these places. And it takes hours to get there. So when somebody got the nerve to come up on here talking about they walked from India into this country, that's straight cap. Now the next question is, where are we? Where are we then? If people are walking from India, where are we? That video is full of crap. I don't care what anybody says. Like I said, guys, that was a video. That doesn't mean that it was true. That's a video that I've seen, and people play around a lot. So that might not be true. And if you ask me, it's not true, because there's no way that somebody could walk from India or from Bangladesh into this country. That's impossible. And they shouldn't have been coming here anyways. And let's not forget, this video is for entertainment purposes only. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm home, so I wasn't nowhere near those people when they talking about they crossing countries, walking. They probably was just playing around or something. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think. I'm out.
How long have you been walking? All day?
All day.
Did you fly into Mexico and then walk the rest?
Walk.
But where did you fly into?
What?
Where did you fly into? What city?
No, only walking.
How do you walk from India?
Yes,
Are you from India too?
Pakistan.
Oh, Pakistan. No, Pakistan? Pakistan?
Bangladesh. Keep in mind, he said
And
Bangladesh.
did you guys fly into Mexico and then walk in the rest of the way? Walk? How did?
I told you, gang, that America is lying to us, right? They're saying that they walked, like I've been telling you, they walked from India and they walked from Pakistan. Now, if you look at the old map of Tartaria, and this is what I've been saying, right? This is India. This is East India, East Pakistan, right? So here is Bangladesh, because that guy said he's from Bangladesh. So within this area, like I've been telling you, you could literally walk to America. They have been lying to us about where these people are, where we are. This is why those immigrants were taking buses, not planes. They were driving, getting dropped off to America. Y'all need to wake up. And if you think I'm capping, it says Bangla right here, India, extra. So on the old maps, right, Bangladesh is here. They walked to America. We starting to wake up, you guys. We starting to realize that when they talk about building a wall, it went over your heads to realize that the geographical area that they're talking about is a lie. The wall is just to confuse you, to try to keep you locked into the lies that they've been telling you ever since grade school. Now you know why they keep sending your jobs to India and China, because they're right around the corner.
This could get me in a lot of trouble, but I have to say something about the cyber attack that's going to take out a power grid. The one we keep getting warnings about from news, podcasts, and different shows. The theory is that this isn't going to be just some freak accident. It's going to be done on purpose. By the way, guys, make sure to like, share, and follow if you're a prepper. I'm trying to build a small but high-quality following built around emergency preparedness. Hypothetically speaking, if the people in power were evil, they'd want a collapse. Not just any collapse, but a total blackout of the power grid, something that lasts 6 to 8 months or more. Because when the grid fails, society breaks in days, maybe weeks. And when people are hungry, scared, and cold, they'll accept anything to feel safe again, to go back to normal. That's when they show up, the government, not as villains, but as saviors. With government food boxes and mobile aid stations, prepackaged digital ID cards, and a brand new emergency currency. But here's the catch. To get all this stuff, to get all these benefits, you'll need to register. You'll be verified into a new system. One app to access food, fuel, and medicine. One login tied to your behavior, location, and compliance. That's how they flip the switch from freedom to control. The power grid crisis gives them the perfect excuse to roll out the following. Mandatory digital ID systems. A programmable central bank digital currency. Restricted travel zones, pre-approved speech on the internet. And a new surveillance state justified in the name of security. They say we're doing this to help you. This is temporary. This is how we stop the looting, chaos, and starvation. But remember that the ones who caused the collapse are the ones who are now offering you a collar and calling it a safety net. They've tested this and they're ready. Billionaires have bunkers, politicians have backup power. The corporations probably already have the contracts in line. But me and you, we're on our own. If you're not preparing right now, you're going to be the one begging when they flip the switch.
I break down exactly why they feared it so much.
How deep down the rabbit hole have you gone? Is it finding out that we don't live here? Well, most people, including myself, when I first came across the fact that we don't live on a spinning ball, thought that was the bottom of the rabbit hole. But there's something else even deeper, that makes everything, and I mean everything, make perfect sense. You see, once you start paying attention, even a little bit, it's very clear to see that Satan's running this realm right now. I mean, all you got to do is look at the 666 in all the logos. I mean, they're hidden everywhere. And if it's not that, there's a little serpent tongue or a snake tongue or something satanic. I mean, look at Disney. Look at even Jamba Juice, for crying out loud. Google Chrome and CERN, it's everywhere. Look at the music industry and all their shout at the devil and dressing like the devil and the one eye and literally star of Satan. Look at NASA and all their 666 and all the heliocentric model, literally from the literal sun supposedly traveling at 66,600 miles per hour. And now they changed that because so many people were figuring it out to, it just says 67,000 miles if you look it up. To the curve rate being 0.666 feet per mile squared, to even the Earth's tilt is 66.6 degrees. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist, which apparently isn't as smart as we all thought, to figure out something fishy is going on. Even NASA in gematria comes out to 666. And there's literally a 300-foot statue of Lucifer in New York City. And if you've never seen this, trust me, that's Lucifer. Just go compare it to this actual statue of Lucifer, and the similarities are undeniable. From a 7-point crown to a torch to even a chain on the Statue of Liberty's foot that's broken, by the way, and we're going to get to that in a second. To an apple, trust me, Statue of Liberty is Lucifer. Which brings me to the bottom of the rabbit hole where Lucifer crawled out of his bottomless pit, which is explained in the Bible. And a lot of people don't know that because they're sitting around waiting for Jesus to come back. But maybe, just maybe, he's already come back and we're living in a time past his millennial reign. And Satan has been loosed to deceive the nations for a while. Well, what am I talking about? Literally, Revelation of the Bible, 20, verse 7, talks about when the 1,000 years has expired, Satan will be loosed to deceive the nations for a little while. Maybe, just maybe, if everything else is a lie, then maybe our timeline is a lie. And maybe Jesus has already come back. And maybe that temple was destroyed in 70 AD. And maybe the fact that they're building a third one is just a bunch of malarkey so they can get the people who are waiting for Jesus to come back to think that he's still waiting to come back. Jesus said it himself, described many times in the Gospels when he said, I tell you, some of you standing here today will not taste death before you see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. So are we to believe that Jesus said that and then made people wait 2,000 years for his return? Are we to see architecture that just doesn't make sense for the time frame and the history that they tell us about, from horses and wagons and chisels to being able to create these magnificent structures all throughout the United States, and not just the United States, but the entire world, all matching up, seeming like there was some sort of hidden technology, hidden civilization, hidden advanced civilization to be able to do these things that they tell us that our uncivilized, untechnical ancestors just literally just chiseled. And then when you look at the time frames and see it was like done in a year or two, it doesn't make sense. They're clearly hiding something. And when you're Satan and you're let loose to deceive the nations for a little while, and you know there's no possible way to cover up the fact that Jesus existed, it's just too impossible, what do? You change the timeline. You make people think that he hasn't been here yet. And people who disagree and won't forget Jesus, you put them literally in insane asylums. And then what do you have? You have orphan trains. And if you haven't gone down that rabbit hole of the orphan trains and the asylums, I encourage you to do that, because if you're not understanding what I'm saying, it'll make more sense. But the bottom line is the amount of people put into insane asylums in the 1800s strangely matches up to the amount of kids that were on orphan trains because their parents were locked up for continuing to believe in Jesus and refused to deny him. Oh, and remember this picture of the pit that I talked about and Satan coming out of? Well, if he was released, it makes sense that his other cronies and fallen angels that he convinced to leave and abandon heaven and come down here would be released with him, right? And it's funny, the book of Enoch talks about 200 of those angels betraying God, and it just happens there are 200 confirmed impact craters on the earth. Maybe they're not impact craters, but exactly what I showed in that last slide. Maybe they're signs of the angels being released from the bottomless pit, because impact craters, I don't know about you, but they wouldn't come straight down. That looks more of remnants of geysers or something coming out from inside the earth. And this one just happens to be called the gates to hell. And yes, it's lit on fire 100% of the time. Oh, and speaking of craters, you know what happens when you go to 666 United Nations Plaza? You see what looks an awful lot like a crater on display. Maybe that's the one that Satan himself crawled out of. And some of you might be sitting here saying, there's no way they could hide that from us. We would know. We would know for sure. Well, because I only have 10 minutes and I'm running short on time, I encourage you to go do some extra research. This is a great website, and it shows a whole lot of melted buildings. I wonder how that melting could have happened. This is from the supernaturalbiblechanges.com, and there's a whole lot of other spots, but I'm limited on time, and what I want to do is show you what's coming and what's the point of all of this, in my opinion, of course. You see, I don't know if you've noticed, but I sure have, a very large, and I mean very large scale, alien, UFO, giant mothership agenda that they've been putting forth, not just recently, but for decades. And you see, getting back to this Revelation verse, it talks about how Satan, he's going to gather his armies to battle and go against the camp of the saints. So he's literally going to gather armies of the world to go against the camp of the saints. And you know what I just couldn't help but notice? Sometimes looks like it could be a mothership. New Jerusalem, potentially where Jesus and the camp of the saints is hiding out. A giant floating city. A giant floating city that just maybe, with enough push and enough propaganda and enough brainwashing, people could mistake for a giant alien mothership. And when you think I'm kidding, no. This is Fox News. Pentagon officials suggest alien mothership could be in our solar system. Oh, really? Pentagon UF chief says alien mothership is in our solar system. You see, what's coming, in my opinion, in the push that has been going on since Roswell and probably even before that, is they are brainwashing the masses to believe in aliens from other galaxies and other planets and other solar systems, been programming our brains with movies like Armageddon and Attack of the Clones, Attack of this, Attack of that, aliens, 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 motherships, Will Smith blowing stuff up, aliens, aliens, aliens. And what's maybe coming? Maybe the good guys are coming in the air in the new city of Jerusalem. And maybe they're going to have us so convinced that we, not me, and not a whole lot of us other awakened ones, but the masses are going to look at the good guys, and then they're going to throw Project Bluebeam with all their fake aliens and all their fake nonsense and lasers and probably really blow some crap up. And they're going to say, we need to target the mothership and literally convince the people of the world to fight against Jesus. That's how I see it. And maybe we're here right now as a last test to see if we can avoid and fight against the evil of the world and choose God and choose good and choose Jesus. And for my last personal touch on this, well, do you know that the original Statue of Liberty face looked exactly like Elvis, aka Lucifer? And if you've seen my videos, you know who I say Elvis became after he faked his death, right? So literally some of you may have voted for Satan himself, who was released for a little while to deceive the nations. Entertainment only, of course.
Boy, people will believe any and everything but the Bible. People will tell you that man carved this with extreme precision thousands of years ago. People will tell you that this ain't even a real sword, that somebody made that up and put it in a museum to lie to somebody. People will actually tell you that that's a sculpture, even though that there's no videos or photos of these structures being built or put there in the first place. People will tell you that there's no evidence of anything that's in the Bible, even though that it's right there and they even show it on the History Channel. And people will also tell you that this carving right here is not even real. It was from somebody's imagination and nobody was worshiping these things. They were just doing it for art. People will also tell you that this map is completely made up and there's no reason for anybody to believe this map, even though that most sailors and people that are in aviation have to use flat maps in order to get from point A to point B. People will also tell you that we landed on the moon, even though that this little thing right here looks like aluminum foil wrapped around a plate. And this guy is walking on the surface, and look at the background, completely flat and there's no stars. People would rather believe this instead of believing this, when technically it's the same thing. The only difference is we don't take this and wrap it around a ball and tell you it's real. There's tons of people out here that get mad because there's a picture of Jesus standing in front of the Pharisees and all the people at the temple, and they get mad because it's not a black Jesus. Go figure. People will also tell you that the tabernacle in the wilderness that was instructed to Moses to build in the wilderness looked like this, even though when you take the supply list of that actual tabernacle, you will not get a structure that looks like this. You would actually get a structure that looks more like this because it's easier to pitch and move around when you're in the wilderness. People will also tell you that giants weren't real, that people were only about 8 to 9 feet tall, and there was no such thing as a 30 or 36 foot giant. And that goes back to the video where I was talking about the Tower of Babel, where surely something, of great size had to make this thing. Oh yeah, and speaking of giants, it's not just us that believe giants are real or people that read the Bible or believe the Bible, but people used to write about giants all the time. People will also tell you that this is nothing but a mountain. And it doesn't look like a tree, it's just your imagination and your mind playing tricks on you. Oh yeah, and back to physical evidence about you know, stuff that's found in the Bible. This right here, the ziggurat of Yeah, the Bible talks about this place too. As a matter of fact, God instructed the Israelites not to build steps up to the altar lest their nakedness be exposed. It's like people would rather believe that something out of this world built these pyramids instead of actually taking the Bible for what it says and saying that giants roamed the earth in those days. Oh yeah, speaking of the pyramids, did y'all hear about these things are actually bigger than what you see? Yeah, those little dots right here, those are people. So you mean to tell me that people like this was building structures like this and this ain't even the whole structure?
Lust is normalized in this society, but deep down, you are seeking union with another soul, not with random strangers. This keeps you depleted. Gluttony, the overconsumption of food, alcohol, substances, when really the soul wants to be nourished. But society wants you to overconsume as a business model. Greed, when you are craving more and more material things, when really your soul wants generosity, envy, and jealousy, and wishing ill onto other people who have hurt us is so easy for us to do. But deep within our hearts, we just want to love others. Wrath is the anger that we project onto other people instead of using our voices for justice, for what is right, for the passion within us that we want to express. Sloth, the overusage of sleep, but you might not get enough sleep. You might love to hustle and grind. If Satan can't grab you in sloth, then he will grab you in performance. Deep down, your soul is craving peace. Pride, the overconfidence, the ego that you are constantly right, but deep down, you have self-hatred. All you truly want is self-love. When you identify which of these sins you are heavily committing, you are able to instead apply the opposite of what your soul is actually craving.
I want to show my appreciation. I want to buy everybody back there. I want to buy y'all some chicken. And you can keep this $100. This all I want you to do is take one piece of chicken and bite it. Any piece you want right now for this $100, you can have it. I want any one of y'all. Let me see y'all eat a piece of that chicken.
Okay. I didn't get it actually. You can keep your money.
Okay.
You can take your money.
Okay.
Just take your money.
Okay. Wait.
I didn't get it actually.
You didn't get it?
I didn't get it.
He wants y'all to eat a piece of that chicken.
I want to buy you a piece of your own chicken.
Okay.
I want to pay for it. I want any one of y'all, just take any piece of chicken and bite into it. I want to see where it shows up.
He asking you to
I want you to eat it.
Oh, you want me to eat it?
Just bite it. He just wants you to bite it. I want you to eat it.
He wants you to bite it.
I'm going to buy it for you. You eat it.
Okay, I can't do that actually, right?
You can't eat it? Why? Why you can't eat it?
So, I was curious the other day and found this online. McDonald's sells 6.5 million burgers in one single day. That's 195 million burgers a month. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't see cows lined up around every corner waiting to be turned into patties. I mean, seriously, do the math. Even if you stretched one cow into a bunch of burgers, you're still talking millions of cows just to keep up. Every day. So I started asking myself, where are all these cows coming from? Is there some secret super ranch hidden underground? Are they growing cows in labs, cloning meat behind closed doors? People laugh it off, but think, when was the last time you even saw a cow farm big enough to supply this madness? And don't say imported beef, because even globally, the numbers don't add up smooth. And look, I'm not saying it ain't real meat. I'm just asking the question no one wants to. What the hell are we eating? Because if it ain't cows, then what is it? Remember, I'm not insinuating anything. I am simply asking a question.
This is just a theory, not a fact.
They've been hiding this from you, but we discovered why all these celebrities chose Satan, and it's way worse than you think. Look closely. The same ancient symbol keeps showing up in music videos, red carpets, even jewelry worn by your favorite stars. It's not just for aesthetic, it's the same pattern found on forbidden altars, in ancient ruins, and in secret temples. Some say it's the Star of Remphan, linked to God's people were exiled for worshipping. Others call it the Seal of Saturn. But what if it's not just symbolic? Hollywood elites, CEOs, billionaires, why are they all flashing this same symbol? Why are they all suddenly obsessed with rituals, blood, and rebirth? This isn't about religion, it's about power and who they really serve. The deeper you dig, the more you realize they don't just play roles on camera, they're following something dark, something ancient, and maybe you've unknowingly worshipped it too. The craziest part? You've seen it your whole life, on flags, in churches, on TV, right in your face. The fuck? Am I crazy for this, or is it all true?
You're not gonna frickin' believe this one. Did Donald Trump save Nelson Mandela with his time machine? What? Guys, the Mandela effect just got weirder. What if I told you that Donald Trump saved Nelson Mandela? This has to be the biggest Mandela effect I've heard in a long time. Donald Trump saved Nelson Mandela with his private jet. And no one remembers it. I do not remember this. I never remember hearing this. Did you? Did you hear this? So is this some forgotten act of heroism? Or are we stuck in a glitching timeline? Somebody keeps on going back in time and changing things. When Nelson Mandela had to escape, no one would go get him. No one would save him. No one except Donald Trump? And it's not all over the media? We don't know anything about it and no one remembers it? This is the new Mandela effect. Do you remember Donald Trump saving Nelson Mandela with his private jet? This is shocking. It could prove time travel. So is the Mandela rescue real or remembered? Who remembers this? So here's the story. The claim is that Donald Trump once saved Nelson Mandela from prison. That he flew his private plane to South Africa to personally get him out. No mainstream record confirms this, but the idea feels familiar to many. So is this why we jumped timelines recently? Did history get rewritten? You know, history. His story. We always see how they're trying to rewrite it. So welcome to the Mandela effect, named after this very confusion. A lot of people swear that Nelson Mandela, and this is what I remember, died in prison in the 1980s. But somehow he lived until 2013. So what's causing these shared false memories? Well, they're not false memories. Are you from the old timeline or are you from the new timeline? Because in the old timeline, Nelson Mandela died in prison. In the new timeline, where we've shifted and merged, Donald Trump saved him with his private jet. We're having memories from alternate realities. So how is Trump doing this, if he is doing this? I'll tell you all about it in the part 2. Enter the time machine and top secret tech. All coming next. So do you remember Donald Trump saving Nelson Mandela? What is going on?
I think I found one. What's that, you ask? A fallen angel. And I'm not even kidding. First, I want to show you something. I asked Google, are fallen angels here on Earth? Yes, fallen angels are believed to be here on Earth, but not in their original angelic forms. Now I want to show you something. And maybe you've seen this, and maybe you haven't. There are all sorts of historic pictures that match up to current day celebrities. But I want to show you one in particular. I want to focus on a very specific one, a lesser known one you might not even know. This one, right here. His name is Sam Tripoli, and he is the host of the most popular conspiracy podcast in the whole world. And this is Francis Bacon. Francis Bacon, who lived during the 1500s and was said to sometimes be immortal or to have maybe faked his death. Francis Bacon, who is potentially known for starting Freemasonry. Francis Bacon, who looks exactly like Sam Tripoli. And maybe right now you're saying, you did this video already, I've seen it, but hold on, because I found some very interesting and telling new things. And first, just in case you didn't see the first video, let me show you how much Francis Bacon and Sam Tripoli just happened to look exactly alike. And Sam, well, he happened to mention my name on an episode where they were talking about Francis Bacon. And I'm known for the guy that recognizes when people look alike. And look at their noses even. If those aren't exact noses and eyes, I don't know what is. And here's where the oh so fun part comes into play. Because, well, you know how they like to tell us the truth, right? They will tell us the truth. They kind of have to. It's part of their arrangement. They got to tell us so they don't impact our free will. Kind of like they do here with devil horns, and we'll get to the Raiders hat, but Los Angeles, and it's upside down. It's a falling angels, falling angels. And the Raiders hat, well, the Raiders hat always has the one eye symbolism. So like I said, they have to tell us, but this is the fun part. His name is Samuel Tripoli. Samuel Tripoli. And let me show you something. And remember, I'm saying he's Francis Bacon. So Sam Tripoli. And when you look at bacon, there's a type of bacon called AAA pork bacon. It's a type of bacon that's considered high quality. So you wouldn't call that 3A, but maybe triple A. So triple A just happens to be a type of bacon. Triple A, or you could say triple E if you were, cutting corners and saying it a little differently. Triple A, triple E, triple A, triple E, but there's more. Remember, they have to tell us. And he is Francis, and he is Samuel. And well, Samuel Francis just happened to invent the spork. The spork. Now, get rid of the S. Samuel Francis Bacon, Samuel AAA Bacon. And he invented the spork, the pork, the spork. They're telling us right in plain sight. And remember this part where I asked Google about the fallen angels being here, and it says, yes, they're wandering the earth and seeking to tempt humanity. Well, do you know what Sam advertises a lot on his podcast? Why don't we take a listen?
Guys, we are in dire straits right now. The world population is plummeting, and the only way to fix it is to hump our way out, okay? Rock hard boners. Let me tell you about Blue Chew and why they love America. Let me tell you.
It just so happens Sam wants me to come explain this on his show. Who is that pictured with me? He knows it's Francis Bacon. He knows he's Francis Bacon. He wouldn't have me come explain this on his ever so popular show if I was just talking nonsense. He literally wouldn't have me come talk about utter nonsense on his show. He wants people to know. He wants me to explain it, and he wants to say, that's a very interesting theory. Wink, wink, wink. But I don't agree with it. Wink, wink, wink. He wants me on his show, so people know what I'm saying is true. But of course, all this for entertainment, people. I'm sure these are just rock-on symbols, and that has no symbolism. An upside-down angelus in the one eye there. It's just a Raiders fan. Just like I know there's also no true conspiracy to hide how much of a spiritual realm we're in, to hide the fact that God exists, because if you knew God exists, you would know the Bible was true. If you knew the Bible was true, you would know fallen angels are true. And if you knew fallen angels were true, well, you would know them when you see them, like I know them when I see them. And remember this whole thing in the beginning? Well, it's part of the reason they faked their deaths. That's Andy Kaufman faked his death. And as Nicolas Cage, because you would see that he's not aging like a normal human being. you would see things that didn't seem right to you. You would see things that might wake you up to the fact you're being lied to. You would see things that might open you up to the Heavenly Father smiling down, hoping you will just look up to him and say thank you for this beautiful world we live in and this beautiful life. And it would cause you to not fall for the blue chew temptations that these fallen angels are getting most of us to fall for. Entertainment only, people. Have a good day. Oh, and I'll let it finish coming perfectly together.
There's one thing in the world that's the most iconic thing ever. There's a conspiracy about it.
Yeah.
Now, there's a statue that came to light recently. I'm gonna show you a picture. No.
I thought you were gonna
There's a statue recently. Look at this. It's an old statue, but look.
Yeah.
Now, do you see this? Do you know who this is? Look.
It's like a vampire. I don't know.
So he has wings. He has wings, and there's a chain on his ankle, right? And he has a crown. It's obviously Lucifer, like Satan.
I saw the chain. I was like, yeah.
Right? Now check this out. Look at this. What foot is this? You seen this statue before?
Wait.
I know you've seen this statue before.
Is that the one in? No, that's not the one.
Look. You see it? So there's a chain and a foot. That's the foot of the Statue of Liberty.
Oh,
yeah.
I heard about this.
Now this statue, going back to that statue, look. There's 7 points on this crown, right? There's 7 points on this crown.
Yeah.
Statue of Liberty has 7 points on its crown.
No.
Now go back to the statue. Look, what's by its feet? An apple. Where is the Statue of Liberty?
No.
The Big Apple, New York City. What do they call New York City? The Big Apple, fam. Crazy.
Yo.
What's in New York City? Why are they praising the Statue of Liberty, which is literally Lucifer? And you know why it's holding a torch?
Why?
Because Lucifer was the angel of light before.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I seen that, but I didn't know what the apple. I mean, the seven.
The crown.
Thing.
Yeah. Damn.
Famous brands linked with suspicious things. Balenciaga. In Latin, the word means Baal is the king. Baal is a demon who looks like this. Prada. They sell earrings that look like Baal. The logo resembles the sigil of Lucifer. Chrome. The logo has hidden the number of beast, which is 666. Monster drink. In Hebrew, the brand logo means number 666. And this is the number of the beast. Nickelodeon. In Latin, the word means I don't care about God. Gmail. The logo resembles the royal arch apron.
You cannot discover a place that already has people living there. To the guy who said Africa was discovered by Europeans, let me teach you something. You don't discover a place where millions of people already lived, traded, built kingdoms, and developed complex systems long before Europeans touched African soil. When Vasco da Gama arrived in 1497, he didn't find wilderness. He found cities. He found the Swahili coast, Kilwa, Mombasa, Mapungubwe, civilizations trading with India and China centuries earlier. Only thing Europe discovered was its own greed. You didn't discover Africa. You invaded it. You renamed it. You redrew the borders. You enslaved and colonized. That doesn't sound like discovery. It sounds like theft. Why do we still believe this lie? Because history is taught from the perspective of the thief, not the victim. And that is why your textbooks lie.
This is what the Vatican has been hiding under St. Peter's Basilica, and it's purely horrifying. Most of us know the story of Cain, the man who killed his brother, Abel. As punishment, God cursed him with immortality and condemned him to wander the earth forever. But what if that wasn't where his punishment ended? Legends say that centuries ago, Ka-En, that's what he was called in ancient times, was captured by the Vatican, not to protect the world, but to hide him. Deep beneath St. Peter's Basilica, inside the Vatican's dark catacombs, they built a prison like no other. A prison where Ka-En has been trapped for over 1,000 years. So why didn't they get rid of him? Some believe Ka-En holds ancient knowledge, secrets so dangerous they could bring down the church, secrets that the Vatican has kept hidden from the world at all costs. But Ka-En wasn't afraid. He warned them that if anything ever happened to him, the secrets he knows would be unleashed, and they could tear the Vatican apart.
The world needs to pay attention to who this man is, because he is inspiring an African revolution against the West right now. This is 37-year-old Ibrahim Traore. He is the second youngest head of state in the world right now, and what his supporters say he represents is simple: African independence. You see, Burkina Faso is a former French colony, and since he became leader of the country in 2022, he has accused France of neocolonialism, which in other words is when a country is still trying to control the other, but now just through more hush means. So when he seized power, he started to make drastic changes. He ordered the French troops to leave the country. He expelled French diplomats and Western media. He banned the use of British and French colonial-style judicial wigs in efforts to decolonize the country's judicial system. And then he started making major changes. He started cutting ties with foreign companies involved in Burkina Faso's infrastructure development, like roads, bus stations, airports, and then started replacing them with locally equipped and trained workers, and then acquired around 1,000 road building machines for them to use. He started introducing policies to boost local control over food production and processing. He started pushing for greater state control over energy, reducing the dependence on foreign suppliers of electricity. And then, in the clearest statement to the West yet, he started buying back a number of the country's major gold mines previously owned by foreign entities. He called the purchases a reclaiming of national wealth from exploitative foreign ownership. But here's where things get crazy, because what started in Burkina Faso has now become something much bigger. They've now joined forces with Mali and Niger to form the alliance of Sahel states, basically saying, we've got each other's backs and we're done with all influence from the West. Ivory Coast and Senegal are now also pushing to remove foreign military bases, and a former Nigerian senator described Traore's actions as the spirit of a continent yearning to be free, dignified, and prosperous. And that is exactly why we're seeing it slowly transition from one country in Africa to Africa as a whole. Because the question that's increasingly being asked is, why is such a resource-rich continent that literally powers the world so poor themselves? Now, here's the problem. We've seen revolutions like this in Africa before, and they haven't ended well. Back in the 1980s, Thomas Sankara led Burkina Faso with almost the exact same vision Traore has now, rejecting foreign aid, nationalizing roads and railways, and calling for true African independence. But just 4 years later, he was assassinated. His policies were reversed, and French firms regained contracts for roads, railways, and ports in Western Africa. So is Traore walking that same path? We don't know. But there are reports that he has survived 19 assassination attempts in 2 years. However, not all those claims have been verified. And it's also important to note that Traore has his critics. Some call him a dictator because he rose to power in a coup. He's postponed elections, he's banned the media, and he's cracked down on dissent, and critics saying no country has ever developed under democracy. So the question is, what do you think? Is this just another dictator grappling for power, or the man to ignite a long-needed change for Africa?